The following is a fan-based discussion. All properties discussed are property of Toei Inc., Bandai, Hasbro, and Subaru Productions. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Tokutalk. Hope you're all doing well today. Marcus and Jacob here to discuss the Villainess.
Yes, we've talked about the villains, so just like them as a whole, but we need to focus on today. So I am exceedingly excited to talk about the women and just what they bring and the fierceness of it all. Now, you gave this as an option.
I gave this as an option.
I'm going to let you start before I go off.
Well, specifically, the reason I gave this as an option is because I knew it was a topic you would be excited to talk about.
It's true.
And that is why I did it. And to get us started, I guess I'll just lay a little basic groundwork. I'll say the idea, more like the idea of the Villainess, consider the Villainess, if you will. The energy that they bring to whether it's the organization or whether they are at the head of it, one of the generals, one of the monsters, it's always a different energy that they're bringing.
It's true.
And the vibe that you can get can range wildly. A lot of times they tend to be more sexy. They tend to be more sexy because there is this trope in Japanese fiction where hotness is equated with evilness, where there's this element of seduction with a character who is like very attractive, but you better stay away from that because it turns out that they're evil. Whereas our heroes tend to be a little more pure.
Although sometimes they end up giving it to the men as well.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
The one that immediately comes to mind is really enough that one Monster of the Week from Akiba Ranger that just kept molesting Akiba Red the entire time.
Okay.
That was very much so coded in several different ways, but it mimics a lot of the things that the Villainess does, especially in that case with Malshina.
I like her a lot.
She's great.
She's great.
She's just hilarious. So... And she was like a lot of other Sentai villainesses especially in Sentai and Rider as well, especially during the 80s and 90s, and now in this case the 2010s, they were AV actresses.
Ah, yes.
And I really appreciate
something we sometimes see carried through today. In the case of something like Garo.
Yes, it happens a lot more in the more adult-oriented ones, but they had it for Sentai and Rider. Especially Sentai more often. And it's something I sort of miss. Like, I'm not saying, of course, that the kids should go watch what this...
Don't watch the source material.
Don't watch the source
material. We're not condoning that.
Of that actress. But there's something that they end up bringing, a particular energy.
Yeah.
That I really do like. Yes. One that I end up thinking about a lot is Shalinda from Ginga Man. The way that she was dressed, Jesus Christ. But she was an AV actress first. And I loved her. I thought she was one of the highlights of that show. The way that she hated Ginga Green. I mean, you know, I stand a hater in some cases. But yeah, there's something about the Villainess. It's a certain energy. Like you said, there is a certain energy that when they come in, oh, mama, we are here and we are ready to go. The girls are girling. And that's who I end up going for 9 times out of 10. Right. Shima sounded like a man, but she was also the best character in that show. I will say for a lot of the Villainesses, though, they tend to be a little bit more... They will end up using their sex appeal, yes, but they also tend to be a little bit more conniving in some of their plans. Looking at you, Ahames. Or what's her face from, was it Sun Vulcan? No. The one with the fish plan.
It's not ringing any bells, sorry.
It was one of the earlier shows, but they had a whole thing.
Was this also Machiko Soga, or was this...
No, it wasn't her. We'll talk about her, though. But no, she was like, we'll do something to all of Japan's fish and take the fish under our control. It was some villain's plan, and I was just like, oh, that's genius.
Seems legit, yes.
It was a very early...
that sounds like a very early Showa era.
Was it Battle Fever? It might have been Battle Fever.
Okay, which I haven't seen, so...
You stabbed the heart, didn't you?
That I do remember. We will always have that. We will always have that.
But I love a woman. I love a strong, independent woman who did not need no man. Aha did not need no man. She came in and wrecked shit. And we stand her for that. What stands out a lot to you about a villainess amongst the villains?
Villainess amongst the villains. One thing that I would like to see them do more of is the fact that they usually tend to be subordinates. They usually tend to be subordinates. The most recent example that I can think of where we had one who was in charge, and it's from an older show, and that was Jan Person.
Right. She was one of them.
One of the, I believe it was the Science Network, the head of that with her Poison Ivy plan to take over the world with plants.
You had the mother from Go-Go 5. Queen, I wasn't saying her last be rescue name, but Queen Banshira. She was, basically, she was the head of that. They ended up echoing a lot of the things that they did previously in Jetman with the Queen before they killed her off.
It'll be someone who is in like something of a subordinate role, and sometimes they will be, at the end, we often see them get transformed into the final boss or like into a villain, into like something more monstrous that our heroes have to fight. That if they take it on the role themselves. A recent example of this is Ultraman Arc with Sweet, who was
a subordinate,
who was very much a willing servant of the main villain of that show, and then in the end decides that after Ultraman defeats the big dream kaiju, is like, I shall take it on and I shall become the kaiju myself, and is twists and deforms her body into a giant monster for the sake of her lord.
Or Marika from Gaim, who I think is honestly one of the worst versions of that, because she was always a subordinate and with no chance to move up the food chain, I guess. I wasn't a big fan of what they did with her character at the end of the day. Like at all, actually. You saw that in Gotchard. Yikes. Just in general, yikes. Baraba from Geats, she was basically, she was Michinaga's main villainess at the end of the day. Yeah. Because she was the worst. She was just the worst. But she was...
Gotchard is one of the rare examples, though, of the... Because the sisters, they are the main villains for the most part of that show. It isn't until Leon gets introduced later that suddenly it's like, oh, no, we were working for him the whole time, and now he's the one in charge. And then by the end, we're just like character motivations are flip-flopping, or they're just being hastily rewritten as something else.
I feel like if you're going to end up having a major villainess be like the focal point, leave her as the focal point. Like, even though Mazinda was under Professor BS, it was really because of the fact that their stories are so tied into the heroes. Yes. It was like, oh, they are the main villain for this particular person. Yeah. In this case, Mazinda for Blue Dolphin.
That's a great example because in Live Man, it really is about our hero's relationship to this particular group. BS is the one who corrupted them, yes, but that's who. But we are more concerned with defeating and potentially face-turning our former comrades than we are with defeating Professor Bias.
I do want to talk a little bit about the face turn because they tend to like to do that a lot more with Villainesses, especially nowadays.
Candelira is the first one that jumps to mind from Kyoryuger.
I was just about to bring her up. Yeah. Candelira, Shima, but that Chainman is a whole other thing in and of itself.
We're reviewing that coming up.
Yes, because Unicron. So it was just like how that whole thing worked for her is such an outlier, and seeing how it worked for her, specifically Shima and specifically Ahames, and how they diverged on the things that end up happening. Since we have time over the next couple weeks, man, the way that I might end up rewatching Changeman.
I mean, it'd be perfect timing.
But yeah, I love when a villainess just works it out. Machiko Soga, in the several times that she was the
many
lead,
times she has.
The several times.
So, was she a villainess in Battle Fever?
It wasn't Battle Fever.
She wasn't Denzi Man.
She was Denzi Man, Goggle 5.
Goggle 5, that was the other one.
And
Zyuranger.
Zyuranger. Yeah. Obviously. And yeah.
Throughout the years, just the different range of kinds of villainesses that she played.
Although, to be fair, she was the same villainess for Denzi Managogo 5.
Mm.
It was just 2 different versions of her.
True.
She came back as somebody's mother. Was it Booba's mother? I think it was Booba's mother in Chain Man.
Change Man again.
Yeah. Is either Booba or Flashman, or it was one of the later 80s Sentai. Then, of course, she went to Z Ranger, and then she would pop up every once in a while every next couple of years.
Yep.
And then her last role was Magic Ranger.
Yep.
She's just... We've talked ad nauseum about this woman, but the gravitas that she has when she is on the screen, the way that she will come in and do this, and your attention is on
the best part of Z Ranger.
Yes,
the best part of Z Ranger. It's one of the examples where we do have a woman who is our head of our villain organization, which Bandora is the leader, and the way she is dressed and that presence and singing her own villain song.
Icon. Yes.
Instant icon.
Icon behavior. She's a legend. She's the moment. And that's it. I misquoted the hell out of Whitney Williams. She's an icon. She's a legend. And she is the moment. Now, come on now. She just is everything.
Fair enough.
There is also a thing that they tend to like to do with the Villainesses as well.
What's that?
And that is make them the love interest.
And the first thing that jumps to my mind is Car Ranger.
Because it spawned Loved After World Domination.
Which is a great show.
Weirdly enough, we could cross over a little bit here. Astronema with Zane from In Space.
Yeah.
He stood her up. Wasn't his fault. So
weirdly enough, they do it with Candelira later.
Yeah.
In King Oger when she and Blue are now a thing.
Well, that happened in, I guess technically in the show.
Did that happen in the show?
That happened in the show.
I don't remember that happening in show.
That happened in the show. Because I remember...
the last thing I remember her doing is like, she and Luckyoto get banned and then they're like helping some kid out and like that was the last I remember seeing them.
That happens at the end of the show proper. Weirdly enough, she ends up getting with him, but in 100 years after, I think his lineage ends up going to continue through his niece. And that's how we get him in the future. Because it looks just like him.
Fair enough.
Because I don't think Candelaria is...
biologically compatible?
Not at all. She is a being of emotions.
She's also an alien. Who possibly does not have compatible anatomy.
I don't know. Ask Star Trek. Or Johnny from the Fantastic Four whenever he ends up going to space. That man could not keep it in his pants.
What's his name? Jack Harkness?
He'll do anything.
That's my point.
Constantine.
Also true.
He'll do anything.
Also true.
Demons. Angels. Everything in between.
Yep.
He needs to be stopped. But back to the villain.
Back to this.
Really enough, I think the last time that we sort of got a major female villain that I can really like pinpoint something really came out of was Yadana from Cure Major. Because she had her whole spin-off.
One of my favorites.
Yeah. I'm just remembering her.
I love the way she was used in show. I thought she was played great. Her use of the riding crop was used for great comedic effect. She really is just that like classic idea of what like a Toku villainess could be.
Yeah.
Of just like she is a pretty girl wearing a sexy outfit who uses like an S&M tool in to like power up her minions, and she is there to just like be bad, be beautiful, and cause chaos, and it's great.
However, we're going to talk about somebody who's on screen right now. We have Glotta from Gav, the older sister.
Okay, tell me more.
With those like 7 or 8 inch heels, which are so.
I've worn heels like that before for a show I did once.
I've worn heels like that. That's it.
They were uncomfortable.
They are very.
But I never fell over once. I pride myself on that.
Yes, they are very uncomfortable. But she is the moment. She is that girl. She has a gigantic scythe. She's strong as hell.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, oh. She really reminds me of Emma Frost before she went good. Although she really did not change much. So, and I'm saying that because Marvel Rivals. But she is that girl, and I'm so excited for what they're going to do with her. She beat the shit out of Gav. And I stand her for that. I love a strong woman. For different reasons than, people who are romantically inclined toward women. But the gays love a strong woman. It's true. Mm-hmm. This is why we like the Gerudo from Legend of Zelda. It's not one of them to step on us, but like, yes, mother. So
fair enough. Yeah.
It's two very different vibes, but they all come from the same place. But yeah, I'm really excited for what they're going to end up doing more with Glauta as a main villainess in this show. And they just introduced the president's daughter, who is insane, and I'm so here for that. Man, oh man. I love a villainess.
That you do. As do I.
Trying to think of any other ones that, like, supreme... Again.
Who's jumping?
Vipra. She was terrible. Like, her actress wasn't great, but I love the fact that her actress also owns it. Where she really liked that role.
It's the best kind.
Yeah, and I'm just like, you weren't great, but you were iconic, so that's all that matters. If you're memorable, that says a lot towards you.
Yes.
We haven't talked about Diva Talks or Astronomy, which is weirdly enough.
We talked about Astronomy a little bit, but yeah, please.
We only talked about her in reference to Zane, but it's just like, she came in, she took the blast to the hand, and she said, and I said, the girls are girling. And Diva Talks, just the face, the way that she did everything. Trakina, for example. I just love when a woman is just like, I'm strong as hell. I'm the baddest. And plot twist, they were.
If we're talking Power Rangers, I gotta go Roxy from Beast Morphers.
She wasn't bad.
I thought she was the best actress in the show.
I agree.
I think her villainess performance as evil Roxy was fantastic. It was just, as I said this in comparison, it was just the right amount of camp. It was just the right amount of like being very silly and recognizing full well what material you are dealing with, but also playing it just the right amount of serious.
I really think that the Disney era had some of the better ones as well. Camille from Jungle Fury. Something about her actress is like, did it for me. Tanaya. We love a strong woman, but even though Camille was like, under Jared, the way that her actress portrayed her really just brought so much life to that character. And Melee as well. But Melee had a different motivation. Melee was all about love a warrior and Yaki Ranger. But for Camille, just like, I'm strong. I'm here to do a thing. And I'm going to do it well. And I'm also going to do it as an icon. And Tanaya also did it as an icon.
Anyone else jump out to you in particular?
Just the one of Miss Poisandra. Talking about Candelaria and how they're very different characters. Where she just wanted to get married and she was mad. And I can understand that. She went full Bridezilla. And I get that. I understand that. I feel that. I am that. So pray for the man who gets married to me. I'm going to be the best, but during this wedding, we got things to do.
Groomzilla.
But yeah. Let us know what your favorite villainesses are in the comments below. Don't forget to join us on all the things. We'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you for watching.